Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I come to you with heartbreaking news. So, IDW Publishing is losing the license to the Transformers comics because a lot of reasons, financial reasons, they just haven't been treating the Transformers brand that well, we could say. But recently, it has been discovered that IDW was, or at least there was a proposition on the table at IDW Publishing to create a book called Transformers Collision Course. And that comic would have essentially been a Crisis on Infinite Earths type crossover in the multiverse. So fans of this channel will know for a long time that it's kind of a meme how Hasbro and the various content creating platforms for Transformers just kind of likes to ignore the whole metafiction, ignore the whole multiverse stuff.
We don't need to touch that. We don't need to bother with that.
But this is very interesting news because it means that IDW Publishing, which was when it held the license, one of the mainstream holders of the Transformers license, was considering a multiversal crossover. And based on some of the covers we've seen, I think they were going to pay attention to continuity. Especially if it was like, we don't know who was going to be writing the book, but if it was someone like John Barber, for example, then you can know for sure that they're going to pay attention. They would have paid attention to previously established continuity within the Transformers multiverse. That cover not only includes things that IDW themselves have published, like things like Regeneration 1, the first IDW universe, the second IDW universe, as well as more of their recent titles like Beast Wars and Shattered Glass, which, by the way, I had no interest in reading Beast Wars or Shattered Glass, mostly because, well, not mostly, but a large part of that was the fact that they had nothing to do with the multiverse. They didn't take place in the multiverse. And that's sort of where all my interest goes to. But if I had known that they were going to be part of a big Crisis on Infinite Earths style story arc, I might have actually picked up those books and read them. For the longest time on this channel, I've been saying how there hasn't been a good conclusion to the multiverse, and there's going to be a video coming out soon talking about the end of the manga, end of the G1 universe, because that manga has implications for the ending of the multiverse, but I digress. We've talked about how, Hasbro is ignoring the multiverse, they just did the big shroud and then said, that's it, done. But it looks like IDW was actually going to answer the question of what happens next. And it looks like it was going to be a big Crisis-style event. I don't know how good the story would have been if it was ever published. I don't know how much of it would, inevitably step on the feet of previously established continuity. But what I am just amazed with is that creating a Transformers book like that was an option that was on the table for IDW, which is crazy to me, because, we have the impression that this multiversal element to Transformers is kind of like ignored, looked down upon, we don't want to talk about that. But the fact that IDW was considering publishing it recently, this is a very recent proposition, evidently, because it's including some characters from very recent IDW publications. Now, of course, this was only a proposal. There might have never been any script written for it. There might have never even been a synopsis for it released. So I don't think we're going to have the situation like we had with Dreamwave, which was when Dreamwave was losing the license and going bankrupt. They released, Simon Furman released some scripts, stuff like that. But that's because Dreamwave was running up until that point. Now, this proposition looks like it's just a proposition. We don't have any information at the time of recording about who was supposed to write it, what it was going to be about. We just have some sample covers, which look really cool as far as covers are concerned. You also see things like IDW1 Unicron, which is interesting. It looks like it would have carried on with some of what was going to happen with the original IDW universe. You see Transformers animated characters, you see Marvel characters, you see all sorts of snapshots from the Transformers multiverse on that cover with a variety of different Cybertrons. It looks fascinating to me. It looks like the type of Transformers comic I would have wanted to have read if it was ever released, but it looks like it probably didn't go as far as, we might think it has gone based on just that unreleased cover alone. We also see a little bit of like robots in disguise, so you can see what's going to happen to the aligned continuity. It looks like, I say it looks like I'm speculating here, but just for the fun of speculating for something that will never be released, it looks like it could have wrapped up the first IDW universe, maybe put some loose ends on the second IDW universe. It could have wrapped up loose ends from the aligned continuity, from the animated continuity, and maybe even picked up some things from Regeneration 1, who knows? As well as, the second Shattered Glass universe and the second IDW Beast Wars universe. There are also some very G1 cartoon characters, like you see the human forms of Springer, Hot Rod, Rodimus, RC, and Ultra Magnus on the cover, so there might have been G1 cartoon characters involved. But I think it's very interesting. Basically, it's almost like another universe war could have happened, and I think that would have been great considering where Transformers as a franchise is right now. Now, that being said, today's been a good day as far as multiversal content is concerned, because I actually am going to record 2 videos today. The first video being this video talking about this this interesting news. I don't even know if you can really call it news. It's an interesting discovery around the Transformers multiverse. But I also want to talk about the manga, The End of the G1 Universe, because I think that manga, that 2-part manga, actually tells us a lot more about how the Transformers multiverse will end than, maybe something like Collision Course would have told us. But honestly, after today, I feel a lot more at ease that the multiverse does have a conclusion that can be inferred. But that's for that video. I just think it's very interesting that the brand hasn't forgotten about the multiverse. I'm sure they want to end it in a lot more smoother way, but it's just really exciting news to me that it hasn't been forgotten. I feel like I've repeated that 5 times. And I think I saw a lot of reactions on social media that news it hurts. It's hurtful that there was that piece of continuity, that piece of fiction that could have existed but then just didn't. It didn't come to fruition. This is what they stole from us. And I feel a little bit inspired, like, if they don't make a book like this, maybe I should write my own sort of fanfic, conclusion to the multiverse. That was sort of the plan. I started to make what I call the RDW universe, which was my continuation of the first IDW universe, but it was supposed to combine with, other stories and become a conclusion to the multiverse, but that's neither here nor there. I have ideas of, like, for example, where I would take the Unicron Trilogy universe. I've already written a story about that, where I would take the IDW universe, and I've had some ideas about where I would take the Bayverse, how I would conclude that. Although it's a big mess. The Bayverse is a huge mess. But maybe I should just, write a brief outline of how I would write a 6-issue miniseries, or maybe 12-issue miniseries, about how the multiverse storyline ends. But I don't know. I feel like that's less necessary now that we have the new manga that came out. I don't know if you call it a manga, the 2-part online webcomic thing. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Do you feel robbed that this book was never released like I have? Do you think a future comic book publisher that gets the Transformers license might try to pick up the pieces and do their own Crisis on Infinite Earth style ending to the Transformers multiverse? I think that would be a cool challenge for a new publisher to try. Do you think we need to pressure IDW to release as much information on that book as we can, so we can have something to pick apart and speculate on? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter. We have that new Twitter back up, so please follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like. Join the Discord server, link is in the description. We also have Instagram, though I barely use it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.